Hello and good day. So I brought my 2001 Seagull S6+Burst out of storage and I've put it up to tune, but we're going to take a look at it and just make sure that it's in good working shape for the next couple of months. Took my action measurement device and I found that the strings are a little high at the 12th. They're about 2.5 or so. So what I think we're going to do is loosen off all the strings and do a quick truss rod adjustment, see if I can bring it down just a touch that way, because looking down the length of the neck, there is quite a bow in it and it's needing to be remedied somewhat, bring it back to kind of straight. So we're going to hopefully just need to do a truss rod adjustment to hopefully bring the head down, which should lower the action somewhat up here near the end. And because we've already sanded the saddle down just about as far as it can possibly go. So anyways, that's what we're going to do today. It's just going to be a short video. We're going to remove all the strings, possibly oil the fretboard. It seems a little bit dry, not too bad, but as I say, I've had it in storage for the last couple of months because I've been mainly playing on my Art and Luthier, and of course my S12, which I have in the other room. But it's time to kind of give this one a little bit of love, and so that's what we're going to do today. So we measure at the 12th fret, and what we're coming up at here is about 2.5. Now that's way too high. So what we want to do is tighten the truss rod. What happens is when you tighten the truss rod, that is going to bring the head down because it wants to shorten the truss rod inside. Your neck has a bit of a bow this way, or at least what you would really like is to have that a little bit that way. That means that when you're pushing down, you're not going to be getting buzz through the other strings. So we want to tighten the truss rod. Now when you're tightening the truss rod, you want to make sure that you take all the tension off the strings, because if you loosen the truss rod, that's going to bring this up and that's going to have less tension on the strings. There shouldn't be too much of a problem. Loosening it will probably even help pull this up with the strings on it, but you do not want to tighten because you're going to be laying this down lower and that's going to create more pressure on the strings, and you're going to be working against the truss rod, and then there's a chance that you might damage the truss rod or pop a string. Now because we're doing an adjustment on it, we're going to use the old strings. I have new strings. I'm not sure I'm going to put them on yet. These ones aren't too old, but we want to grab the capo. We want to put the capo up on the end. Now all this does is when we loosen off the strings, it keeps the strings from bundling up on the spindles. So loosen off all the strings. You want to always loosen the skinny strings first, like I just did not do. This is so that because if you take the pressure off of the heavy strings, it's going to create more pressure on the small skinny strings, and then you're going to take a chance at breaking one of them. That's what you don't want to do. Okay, so now we've done that, we're going to take the proper sized Allen key. This one is then underneath the sound hole. Some are up here in the head. That's just where the truss rod adjustments are. So you want to get the proper sized Allen key. I'm not going to tell you what size it is because your guitar may be different, and go find out. So what we do is spread the strings apart, find the hole, Okay. Once you get it in there, you want to tighten, and that is what is going to drop the head. What you want to do is roughly about a quarter turn. Holy cow, Batman. A light can always be your friend. Now I'm going to leave that in there while I check. Okay, and that is a lot straighter now. So we tighten and then we stretch. Okay, so now we're back up to tension. Let's measure it again. Let's turn off the tuner. Measuring again at the 12th with the proper side. And that's back down a bit more, about 2 millimeters, I believe is what this is. 2 to 2 1/4. And at the other end, 2. Two and a quarter to 2. I think we're in a not bad spot there. But let's look down the neck and see what it looks like there. It's pretty flat. There is a little bit of bow to it, but you want a little bit of bow. I think actually I might give her another little crank. And another little. Okay, and with that, it pretty much locked up. So Bring it to rough tune and then stretch the strings. Wiggle them, make sure that they're set. And then retune. So we're going to give them one more tug, make sure that they're all like snug. Okay, let's check the action one more time here. With the proper side. Okay, so there on the low, we are about 2, which is good. High, geez, about 1.5 to 2. So, let's see, is that where we want it? Okay, she needs a tuning up good. So I'm going to do this again. Tug on the strings. Look down the neck again, and there's just ever so slight a bow. Ever so slight, which is what you really want. It's just a slight bow. Bow coming this way. Bow coming this way. And it's just very, very slight. So there you have it. That's how you want to adjust the truss rod on these guitars. You want the head to go down, you tighten it. You want the head to come up, you loosen it. Now if you're getting buzzing, that's why you want to loosen it, the tension will pull the head up and create a better movement in here. You want to bring the head down, you tighten it. Now, either way, you should really loosen the strings, but especially when you're tightening. If you're going to tighten the truss rod, loosen off all the strings. If you're loosening it, you can do it because you're going to put less pressure on the strings and on the neck and on the truss rod. But when you're tightening it, it's going to create more pressure on the strings. So you don't want to do that because you're putting more pressure on the strings. You're working against it on the truss rod. And that's how you're going to strip or damage your truss rod. So that's where we're going to leave it for today. What you really got to know about it is if you're loosening the truss rod, that's because you have buzzing somewhere along here, usually up in this area, because the neck comes out here and then the truss rod really only adjusts from here to here. Does not adjust up in here. That's all going to be flat. You'll notice that the bow starts here and comes out. So if you've got buzzing, which usually is up in here, you want to loosen the truss rod. You can loosen it with the strings under tension, but you do not tighten the truss rod with the strings under tension, because you're just going to be working against the truss rod adjustment and you're going to take a chance at damaging it. Loosen off all the strings, make the tightening movement, and then bring it up to tune and check it again. Now, it'll probably take a day or two for it to settle as well, so I'm going to check it again tomorrow, see if it's still where it should be, and we'll go from there. So, thank you very much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye now. Cleanup time. Put your tools away.